Welcome at Pizza and More. My family asked if it is possible to make a pizza in a raclette. Yeah, I'm Jürgen and I tell you now what my thoughts were to make my family happy and to really make a pizza raclette. First of all, I had to think about the dough. What kind of dough should I make? Then I thought, let's make a dough with a leavening time of only 8 hours. Then I can prepare the dough already in the morning, and in the evening for dinner we have then our raclette. So I also had to think about the kind of flour I use, because as I said, I have only a leavening time of 8 hours. So it needs to be a flour with a very low baking strength. Otherwise, if I have a flour with a high baking strength, so maybe with a W value above 300, then after 8 hours, the gluten structure of the dough would be too strong and the dough would be like a chewing gum. That's the reason why I thought, let's take a flour with a very low baking strength. What I use now is from a Typo 0. It has 12% of protein, but the W value is only 240 to 260, which means after 8 hours, the dough might be perfect. I also had to think about the hydration. Normally, because of the low temperature in that raclette oven, the hydration should be higher. But I thought everybody is using his hands to press the dough into his small pan for the raclette. So I thought if the dough is too sticky due to a too high hydration, then it's not ideal. Otherwise, we would have to use lots of flour or semula, and then it's dusty and everybody is full of flour. So I thought, let's use only 62% of hydration, because 62% of hydration is okay. It's not sticky anymore. Everyone can use and can press the dough into his pan and everything is fine. And as I said, due to the low baking temperature in this oven, I thought let's also add some honey for the color of the dough, and let's add some olive oil to the dough. So this makes a nice structure of the dough, gives a good flavor, and of course it protects the dough from drying out. I thought, how big should such a dough, a very little dough ball be? And I thought 20 to 25 grams should be enough. And I make, I think, 10 or 12 of those balls today. And therefore, the amount we have to work with is very, very low. And that's the reason why I use my hands for kneading and no mixer or no machine. And now I think we start directly with our dough. These are the ingredients for our dough. This is 180 grams of Type 0 flour. Here I have 110 grams of cold water. This is 5 grams of fine sea salt and 0.4 grams of dry yeast. If you want to use fresh yeast, then please use 1.2 grams. Then I have 5 grams of olive oil and 5 grams of honey. To make our dough, we pour the water into the bowl. Then we add the honey. Then we melt the honey already a little bit. Now we add half of the flour. And the dry yeast. And then we mix it up. I would always recommend to keep one hand clean. Okay, the second hand is now also clean because I have this spoon here. But afterwards I will use my hand for kneading. And there it's also my recommendation to keep always one hand clean. Now I add the rest of the flour. At this stage we can add our salt. And now I think with this spoon it makes no longer sense, and that's the reason why I use now my hand and continue mixing. And you can see I always go and take everything from the bottom to the top and press it. From the bottom to the top and press. And then I turn always the bowl a little bit. After a while of kneading, it's time to add the olive oil. And now, after a total kneading time of over 20 minutes, my dough is ready, I think. By the way, who has or who doesn't want to knead the dough by hand and has no mixer, I could recommend you a video what I already have created with a no knead dough. There it's not necessary to knead the dough, only mix, stretch and fold, mix, stretch and fold, and so on, and rest. And the link to this video is in the video description. But now I think this dough is already ready for the window test. I take here one piece of dough and you see it's not really sticking anymore. I form here a ball and then I stretch this ball. And you can see how thin it is possible to stretch the dough. This means the gluten structure is ready. And now we shape here a nice ball. And we let it rest covered either with a lid, with a foil, or even on the counter with the bowl over it. We let the dough rest now for 30 minutes at room temperature. 30 minutes later, the dough is ready to make the dough balls. I make now 12 dough balls with 25 grams each. It would be possible simply to make around 12 parts, but I want to be here a bit more accurate, and that's the reason why I use a scale. Now I have here 12 pieces of 25 grams each, and now the easiest is take it in your hands, roll a ball and put it into a dough ball box. It's done. The little balls are created. You may wonder why these are far more than only the 12. This is the half for the German video. So these balls you can let it raise in such a dough ball box or even on a baking tray. You also can let it on the counter, but then it's important to cover it and protect it from air, otherwise it might dry out. Important, as I said, close the lid, and now we let it rest at room temperature for around 8 hours. The mini dough balls had now a leavening time for 8 hours. In the meanwhile, we prepared lots of toppings. I will show you all those toppings in a few seconds. And the raclette oven is already preheated, and I would say we start now and prepare the first pan for the raclette. And this is now, or these are now the toppings we have for our raclette. And you can believe me, it's not all. All the sausages and all the ham is still missing. The ham and the sausages are partly still in the fridge, but we will take them out in a few minutes, and I think there is something for everyone. And here are our small dough balls after the 8 hours leavening time. Now I take some semolina, put it on top of this very little ball, and I take the spatula to take it out, and this is something I will do afterwards for all the guests. I will remove it and put it for the guest into the pan, and then they can stretch it as they need. So which means I will give this dough ball to the people, and this is the pan, and they should place it in their pan and then press it until it fills the whole pan. And then we place it on top of the plate, so on the grill plate of the raclette oven. So I had it on top for around 8 minutes, and then I put it once again to the bottom for around 3 minutes, so that it's already a bit pre-baked also from the top. And now I add here some tomato sauce. You can add whatever you want, but this is some tomato sauce I still have. That's the reason why I use it now. Then I have here some leftover mozzarella fior di latte. We have also what you already have seen, some camembert. We have some special raclette cheese. You can use whatever you want, and here I have some salsiccia. Let me add this salsiccia on top. And then I place it at the bottom until the cheese is perfectly melted. And after a few minutes, it's done. And now it's time also for my family and for my guests to make their own very small pizza in the raclette pan. I hope they have fun. I hope they enjoy it. We have lots of toppings, various toppings. I'm pretty sure they will enjoy it. They will love it. Now I have some additional information to the video. It was fantastic. The taste was absolutely great. Everybody was really, really happy about that food. The only thing what I did, the little pans, I covered them, or we covered them with a little bit of olive oil. Then the dough did not stick so heavy into the pan, and it was far easier to release. But what I saw, there is something else which seems to be really fantastic. I ordered it already yesterday. I will test it, and information will follow. And if you like my video, it would be fantastic if you would subscribe my channel, and then we see us also in the next video. Ciao.